Right. Getting ready to step into a welding interview feels a little like stepping into the booth for the first time, doesn't it?
Yeah, can be a little nerve-wracking.
Definitely. But today, we're going to help you turn that anxiety into confidence.
Exactly. We're going deep, deep into how to totally ace that next welding interview.
Love it. And to help us out, we've got a whole stack of resources from RoleCatcher.
Yeah, they've got these career guides, interview guides.
Even some cool info on their AI tools.
Oh,
We're
yeah.
going to break it all down for you.
We're not messing around. We're going beyond just the basics.
Right into those tricky interview questions.
Giving you those insider tips to really help you stand out.
I like it. So before we fire up those metaphorical torches,
Okay.
can we give our listeners a quick snapshot of what a welding career really looks like?
Absolutely.
I mean, it's got to be more than just joining metal, right?
Oh, yeah, it's way more than that.
What else is there to it?
Think precision, problem solving, sometimes even like artistry. Oh, absolutely. You're not just working with your hands, you're using all this specialized equipment, understanding different fusion techniques, and then you got to make sure everything you create is like top quality and totally safe.
Wow. Okay, so it's more than just a job.
It's a craft.
Yeah.
It is.
It's a real craft.
Yeah.
So speaking of jobs, let's jump into those interview questions.
Let's do it.
What's the first one we should tackle?
All right, let's start with a classic. What experience do you have in welding?
Okay, I feel like everyone preps for that one.
Yeah. But there's a real art to answering it effectively.
How do you go beyond just listing out those previous jobs?
Okay, think of it this way. You're selling your skills. Okay. So instead of just saying, I worked at XYZ company, you tell a story.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, you're like, at XYZ, I specialized in TIG welding on stainless steel, which was critical for their high-pressure piping systems.
So you're not just saying you had a job.
You're showcasing it.
Yeah.
You're showcasing a specific skill in a relevant context.
I like that. Show, don't tell.
Yes.
Okay, so now what about those folks just starting out, right?
Yeah, could be.
Fresh out of a welding program. They don't have years of experience to draw on.
For sure, for sure, for sure. But even without direct welding experience, you can highlight transferable skills like, did you work in construction?
Okay.
Maybe you mentioned you're familiar with, blueprints and safety protocols. Were you in like a fast-paced environment?
Ah, okay.
You can emphasize your ability to work under pressure and meet deadlines.
Okay, so you're saying find those connections between past experiences
Yes.
and the skills needed for welding, even if they're not, welding specific.
Right.
Now, this is where I think RoleCatcher's AI could be a game changer. What do you think?
Absolutely. RoleCatcher's AI is incredible.
Right.
It can actually analyze specific job descriptions and identify those key skills that employers are looking for.
Oh, wow.
So you can take that information and tailor your answer to highlight those specific skills. And it shows the interviewer that you've done your homework.
Oh, that's amazing.
Right?
It's like a cheat sheet, but like personalized.
It is.
Okay, on to the next question.
Mm.
What else should our listeners be ready for?
Okay. This one's all about showing you take safety seriously.
Oh.
What safety protocols do you follow when welding?
Oh, this is non-negotiable.
Non-negotiable.
Yeah.
And your answer needs to reflect that.
Okay, so how do we go beyond the obvious stuff like mentioning safety goggles, gloves?
Yeah.
How do we really impress them with our safety knowledge?
Details. Think about the details. Don't just say, I wear a respirator.
Yeah.
You say, I always ensure my respirator is properly fitted and that the filters are appropriate for the specific welding fumes I'm exposed to. You see?
So you're not just stating the fact, you're showing that you really understand it.
You understand it.
Yeah.
And you're serious about it.
Okay, so what if they hit you with a follow-up? Like, what would you do if you saw a colleague not following those safety procedures?
That's a great example. They might use a follow-up to dig a little deeper.
Okay, yeah.
And you want to show that you can handle the situations responsibly. So you could say, I would politely but firmly remind my colleague of the importance of the safety protocol and the potential risks involved. If the behavior continued, I'd report it to the supervisor.
Okay, that's good.
Because safety is everyone's responsibility.
Yeah, so you're showing that you're not only safety conscious, you're a team player.
Yes.
Okay, solid advice.
Right.
All right, what's the next interview hurdle?
All right, let's shift gears to quality control. Get ready for this one. How do you ensure the quality of your welds?
This feels like a question where you really have to show off your expertise
Yeah,
and that attention to detail.
exactly. This is your chance to really showcase your process. So you start by talking about maintaining proper heat input. You explain how you adjust the amperage and the voltage to make sure the weld penetrates properly without causing any distortion.
Okay, so get a little technical.
A little technical, but explain it in a way that someone who's not a welder can understand.
Got it. Don't just throw out the jargon.
Right. Then you can talk about your visual inspection process. You can mention specific defects like undercut, porosity, or excessive splatter.
Right.
You could say, after each weld, I carefully inspect for any signs of these defects to ensure a strong and aesthetically pleasing weld.
Aesthetically pleasing. I like that. Shows you take pride in your work.
Great.
Now, I know RoleCatcher's AI can help out here too, right?
Oh, absolutely. RoleCatcher's AI can analyze thousands of job descriptions to find those specific quality standards that are mentioned most often for welding roles.
Wow.
So you can take all that info and you can tailor your answer to emphasize those standards that are most relevant to the job you're applying for.
That's incredible. It's like a research assistant that goes and like digs through mountains of data and finds those little golden nuggets.
It is, yeah.
Incredible.
And it doesn't stop there.
Oh.
RoleCatcher even has this AI-powered feature where you can practice your answers and you get feedback on like how clear you are you concise, is it relevant?
It's like having a personal interview coach,
It is.
but like in your pocket.
Right.
Okay, that's impressive. Now, before we jump to the next question, can we circle back to the career guide for a second?
Sure.
You mentioned certifications earlier.
Yes.
Could you elaborate a bit on that?
Of course, certifications are a great way to show potential employers what you know and what you can do, and it can really give you a leg up against the competition. One of the most recognized certifications is the Certified Welder, or the CW credential. It's kind of like an industry standard that says, hey, you've mastered the fundamentals.
So it's like a seal of approval.
Exactly.
Saying like, you know your stuff.
You know your stuff.
And I'm guessing there's different levels depending on your experience and all that.
Oh yeah, you can start with the basic CW and then work your way up to the advanced certifications like a certified welding inspector, the CWI, or the certified welding educator, the CWE. These specialized certifications can open doors to leadership roles,
Okay.
higher salaries, even consulting opportunities.
That's awesome.
Right.
Shows there's a real path for growth, for advancement.
Absolutely. It's a field with endless possibilities.
That's fantastic. All right. Ready for another question?
Let's do it.
Our listeners are getting prepped, ready to impress those hiring managers.
Okay, this one tests your problem-solving skills. How do you troubleshoot welding equipment when it malfunctions?
Ooh. Every welder's worst nightmare, right? But seriously, how do we answer this in a way that shows we can, like, stay calm under pressure,
Yes.
that we can handle those unexpected challenges?
It's all about showcasing your process. So you start by saying, like, first, I'd isolate the problem. Is it the wire feed? Is it the gas flow? Is it the power source? Then you walk them through your basic checks, like I'd inspect the cables for damage, check the connections, make sure the ground clamp is secure.
So don't just say, I'd call maintenance.
Right.
Show them you can take those first steps to try and fix it yourself.
Exactly.
If you can.
And if you have any experience with basic maintenance or repair, you mention that.
Yeah.
You say, like, I've learned how to replace contact tips, adjust wire feed tension, and troubleshoot gas flow issues. You're showing you're resourceful and that you've got some mechanical aptitude.
Those are great points. Now, what about those, like, tricky follow-up questions?
Oh, yeah.
What might they ask to really test our knowledge?
They might get specific. They might say, like, what are some common problems with MIG welding guns?
Okay.
Or, you're working on a critical project and the wire feeder jams. What do you do?
Oh, that's a tough one.
It is a tough one.
But it's a good opportunity to show you can think on your feet.
Absolutely.
Find those solutions under pressure.
This is another area where RoleCatcher can help.
Oh, how so?
Their AI can actually simulate these challenging interview scenarios
Really?
and give you personalized feedback on your responses.
Oh, wow.
You can practice, you can refine your approach, and walk into that interview feeling confident and prepared.
Okay, I'm seeing a theme here. Prepare, practice, and let RoleCatcher's AI be your, like, secret weapon.
It is. It's a powerful combination.
Yeah.
It really is. And remember, the more you practice, the more natural and confident we'll sound.
I think that's a great place to maybe pause for now. We've covered a lot in part one.
Yeah, we have.
We've explored the world of welding. We tackled some tough interview questions. And we even saw how RoleCatcher's AI can give you a serious advantage in the job search.
But we're just getting started.
Hmm.
We're back with part 2 of this deep dive, where we're going to cover even more challenging interview questions. And we're going to delve deeper into how you can really leverage your skills and experience
Don't miss it.
to land that dream welding job. All right, welcome back to our deep dive into acing that welding interview.
Yes.
In part 1, we tackled some of those common questions, and we really focused on how important it is to showcase your skills, that safety consciousness, and your quality control processes.
Right. Getting those fundamentals down.
We even saw how RoleCatcher's AI can give you some amazing insights and practice opportunities.
Absolutely. We prepped for those classics, like what experience do you have?
Yeah.
How do you ensure the quality of your welds?
Yep. But now it's time to really turn up the heat.
Okay, I like that. Turn up the heat.
Tackle some of those questions that really make you think critically and show off that expertise you've got.
All right, let's do it.
Okay. Here's one that often throws people off. Tell me about a time you made a mistake on a welding project.
Ooh.
What did you learn from it?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
It is.
Because, you want to present yourself as, this flawless welder.
You do.
But everyone makes mistakes.
Everyone makes mistakes.
So how do you answer that honestly without, shooting yourself in the foot?
Okay, the key is to reframe the question. It's not about highlighting your flaws or anything.
Right.
It's about showing that you can learn and grow from those experiences. So choose a mistake that wasn't catastrophic but still had some consequences.
Okay.
And some learning opportunities that came out of it.
So instead of saying, I once forgot to change the gas shielding and ruined an entire weld,
Yeah.
I could talk about a time I misjudged the heat input
Yes.
and caused some minor distortion.
Yeah. Perfect example. You acknowledged the mistake, but it's not a deal breaker. And then this is where you turn it into a positive. You explain what you learned from that. Did you go back and really review the welding procedures? Did you talk to a more experienced welder? Did you take a refresher course on heat input control?
So it's all about showing that you're not afraid to say, hey, I messed up.
Yes.
But that you actually learned from it.
You learned and you grew.
Which is valuable in any profession, but especially welding, I'd imagine.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a growth mindset. Employers love to see that.
They do.
Okay, now let's imagine you're interviewing for a more senior welding role.
Okay.
One with, leadership responsibilities.
Got it.
They might ask you something like, how do you train and mentor new welders?
Okay, so this is where we show off that leadership potential.
Exactly.
But what if you haven't had a lot of formal training experience?
Think about it broadly.
Yep.
Have you ever helped a coworker, figure out a problem,
Yeah.
explained a technique, offered some tips on using a specific piece of equipment?
Oh, okay.
Those are all forms of mentorship.
So even if I haven't officially been a trainer,
Yeah.
I can still talk about those moments to show that I can communicate well
That's what I know.
and focus on those skills that are involved.
Okay.
Patience, clear communication, breaking down, complex concepts into those easy to understand steps. And remember, the STAR method is your friend.
The STAR method. Oh, remind me what that is again.
It stands for situation, task, action, and result.
Okay.
It's a way to answer those behavioral interview questions.
Got it.
So you describe the situation. Maybe a new welder was struggling with a specific technique.
Right.
Then you outline the task. You were teaching them how to properly set up the welding machine. Then you explain the actions you took.
You were showing them the steps, giving them feedback, offering encouragement, and then you highlight that result. The new welder mastered that technique and is now more confident.
I love that. So it's a clear, concise way to show them what you're talking about.
Yeah, with a real-world example.
Exactly, with a real-world example. Okay, speaking of real-world examples, let's move on to a question that I think is crucial for any welder.
Okay.
Regardless of experience, how do you read and interpret welding blueprints?
This is all about showing that you understand the language of welding.
Okay.
Blueprints are the roadmap to a successful project.
They are.
And you need to prove that you can follow them, exactly.
So it's not enough to be a great welder. You also need to be a great blueprint reader.
You do.
But blueprints can be intimidating,
They can.
especially for someone just starting out.
Yeah.
So how do we approach this question with confidence?
Okay, start by mentioning any formal training you have, courses on blueprint reading or welding symbols. And then, highlight that practical experience. You could say something like, I've worked with a variety of blueprints from, simple shop drawings to like complex structural plans. I'm comfortable identifying, weld types, joint designs, material thicknesses, even non-destructive testing symbols.
Okay, so using the correct terminology is key.
It is, yeah.
Like instead of saying, it shows what kind of weld to do, I should say something like, I can interpret weld symbols, including fillet welds, groove welds, and plug welds.
Exactly. It shows you're fluent,
Yeah.
Like, you know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid to get specific. You can mention, you're familiar with different welding processes like GMAW, the MIG, GTAW, the TIG, SMAL, the stick.
Right, right.
And how those are all represented on the blueprints.
So it's all about showing you can take those lines and symbols
Yeah.
and turn them into, like, a real welding plan.
A real-world welding plan.
Now, I'm curious, how can RoleCatcher help with this? Can their AI, like, analyze a blueprint?
While their AI can't analyze a blueprint visually,
Yeah.
it can be super helpful in understanding like the specific requirements and terminology that's used in different industries, different companies.
Oh.
So by analyzing all those job descriptions,
Huh?
their AI can actually identify the types of blueprints that you're most likely to come across
Wow.
in that particular role, as well as like, the key welding standards and codes that you got to be aware of.
So you can tailor your answer to show that you know what they're looking for.
Exactly.
That's amazing. It's like a personalized study guide, but just for blueprints?
It is. It is.
Okay, that's impressive. Now, let's shift gears a little bit
Okay.
to a topic that I think is essential for success in any welding project.
Yes.
Especially when you're going for, like, a leadership
Oh,
role.
sure.
How do you ensure that welding projects are completed within budget?
Oh, the dreaded budget question.
Right.
But this is where you've got to show that you're not only a skilled welder, but you're also cost conscious.
You're a professional.
You are.
Yeah, you got to think about the whole picture.
You got it.
Yeah.
It's about showing that you understand like the business side of welding.
Uh,
So even if you haven't like directly managed budgets before,
right.
you can still highlight that you're aware of costs,
Yeah.
and that you're committed to working as efficiently as possible.
So, for example, I could talk about how I minimize material waste
Yes.
by, carefully planning my cuts and using scrap pieces.
Perfect example. You can also talk about how you're really focused on preventing rework by getting it right the first time.
Right, right, all right.
You could say something like, I always double check my measurements, my settings, my preheat temperatures to avoid those costly mistakes that require rework.
Shows that you're trying to save time and therefore money.
Exactly. Time is money.
Yeah. Are there any other strategies I could mention?
Absolutely. You could talk about like your proactive approach to maintenance, making sure that your equipment is always in tip-top shape to prevent downtime, which leads to those costly repairs. You could even mention that you're you're willing to collaborate with the team to find those creative solutions that can save everyone time and money.
Right, right, right. So it's all about showing that you're thinking beyond just the welding itself.
Yes.
And you're looking at the whole picture,
Exactly.
including the finances.
And this is where RoleCatcher's AI can provide some really good insights.
Okay.
Their platform can actually analyze salary data for all different types of welding roles.
Oh, wow.
And locations, which can help you understand what the market rate is,
Okay.
so you can negotiate a fair salary.
So not only can RoleCatcher help you ace the interview, it can help you get paid what you're worth.
That's a win-win.
That is a win-win.
And remember, really understanding your value combined with that clear and confident presentation of all your skills, that's going to make you a very, very desirable candidate for any welding position.
I completely agree. Okay, that was a jam-packed segment.
Yeah.
Tons of valuable information. Before we move on to part 3, where we're going to tackle even more of those challenging interview questions,
Right.
let's just take a minute to reflect on what we've covered so far.
Sounds good. It's important to really absorb all these insights and strategies so you can use them when you're prepping for your own interview. And remember, confidence comes from practice and knowledge, and we're equipping you with both.
Exactly. So take a deep breath, review those key takeaways, and get ready for part 3.
We'll be back.
We're going to continue to break down those interview barriers and help you weld your way to a successful career.
Stay tuned.
Okay, we're back for the final round of our welding interview deep dive.
Yes,
In parts 1 and 2, we really covered a lot of ground.
we did.
From showcasing your experience and those safety practices
Right.
to showing off your knowledge of blueprints, budgeting,
All those important things.
all those important things. We even tapped into the power of RoleCatcher's AI
Oh, yeah.
to help you, tailor those answers, practice for those tough questions.
Really give you that edge.
Exactly. But now it's time to prepare for those curveball questions.
The unexpected. The
Yeah.
ones that are really going to, like, assess those problem-solving skills.
Right.
How adaptable you are, and how you think critically.
Okay, I love a good challenge. Give us an example. What's a curveball question that might throw our way?
All right, how about this? Imagine you're working on a large-scale project, and those welding specifications suddenly change. You have to switch from MIG welding to TIG welding, like, on the fly. How do you adapt?
Ooh,
Yeah,
that's a good one. It tests your knowledge of those different welding processes
for sure.
and your ability to, adjust to those changing demands.
Exactly. So how would you approach this question?
Well, first, I'd probably take a deep breath
Okay, good start.
and acknowledge the change. I could say something like, I understand that project needs can shift, and I'm always ready to adapt.
Love it.
And then I would, demonstrate my knowledge of both MIG and TIG welding,
Okay, yeah.
highlighting those key differences.
Good. You're showing them that you understand, like, the details of each process.
Right. I could say something like MIG welding is typically faster and more efficient for those thicker materials, while TIG welding offers greater precision and control for those intricate welds on those thinner metals.
Excellent. Now, take it a step further. Explain how you would make that transition smoothly.
Okay, so I could say I'd gather the necessary equipment for TIG welding, making sure I have the proper tungsten electrode, the gas shielding, and the filler metal.
Yep.
I'd review those revised welding procedures carefully, and if I needed to, I'd consult with, a supervisor or maybe even an experienced TIG welder, just to make sure I've got all the specific requirements.
Perfect. You're demonstrating a proactive and responsible approach.
Right.
You're not just willing to adapt. You're showing them the steps you're going to take to make sure that transition is successful.
Right. It's about being a problem solver,
Absolutely.
not a problem creator.
Yeah. Now, I'm curious, how can RoleCatcher's AI help with these, kind of unexpected questions?
Yeah, that's a good point.
RoleCatcher's AI can, like, analyze those industry trends, and it can identify the skills that are becoming more and more important in the welding field.
Oh, okay, I like that.
So, for example, adaptability, problem solving, the ability to work with all that, like advanced technology.
Right.
Those are all really, like, highly sought after skills these days.
So even though AI can't predict, like, the exact question,
Right.
it can help you kind of build up those core skills.
It can.
That'll make you a better candidate.
Absolutely. Makes you more adaptable, for sure.
Yeah,
All right, you ready for another curveball?
hit me.
Describe a time you had to work as part of a team to overcome a really challenging welding project. What role did you play, and what was the outcome?
So this is like a teamwork question,
Classic teamwork question.
disguised as a welding question.
Exactly. But they want to see, how you collaborate, how you communicate, how you contribute when you're part of a team.
Okay, so I need to choose a project where teamwork was essential.
You got it.
Maybe like a time when we had to repair a really complex piece of equipment
Oh, yeah, that's good.
and there was a tight deadline.
Perfect example. Now, describe your specific role. Were you responsible for a specific welding technique? Did you kind of, like, take the lead in problem solving? Were you the one communicating between the welding team and, like, the other departments?
Okay, yeah. So I could say something like, I was responsible for the TIG welding portion of the repair, which required a high level of precision and attention to detail. I worked really closely with the other welders, sharing my expertise on TIG techniques and collaborating on the best approach for each weld.
Great. You're highlighting those specific contributions, but you're also, like, emphasizing that collaborative aspect.
Right.
Now, don't forget about that outcome.
Oh,
Did you meet that deadline? Did the repair hold up? Was the client happy?
yes. I can say we successfully completed the repair ahead of schedule, and the equipment has been working perfectly ever since. The client was super happy with the quality of our work and our commitment to teamwork.
That's a great way to, like, wrap up that answer.
Right.
You've shown your teamwork skills, you've shown that technical expertise,
Yeah.
and you've shown that you're really focused on delivering results.
I'm feeling much more prepared to handle these curveball questions now.
You got this.
Any other tips before we wrap things up?
Remember, confidence is key. Even if you get a question that throws you off guard, take a moment to collect your thoughts and don't be afraid to ask for clarification if you need to. The interviewer really wants to see how you think, not just, like, hear a memorized answer.
Right, right, right. And if you want to practice those answers and get some feedback, RoleCatcher's AI is a fantastic resource.
It is. RoleCatcher can really help you refine those responses. It can help you identify those areas you might need to work on.
Yeah.
And it really boosts your confidence so you can walk into that interview feeling prepared and ready to, wow them.
Well, that's a wrap on our welding interview deep dive. We hope you found this episode informative and empowering, maybe even a little bit fun.
A successful welding career, it's really built on a foundation of skill, knowledge, and a passion for the craft. So keep learning, keep practicing, and never stop striving for excellence.
And if you're ready to take that welding career to the next level, head over to RoleCatcher.com and really unlock the power of AI. Let it help you land that dream job. Until next time, keep those sparks flying.